So whilst everyone's hooting and hollering over whether the fact they like or dislike Monster the Ed Gein Story, I actually want to talk about something that was in episode 4 of the new Netflix series. And that is the recreation of Leatherface from the 1974 film The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Not only that, recreating portions of filming. We have someone portraying Toby Hooper. I had no idea this was going to be a thing in this series. I don't know if it was announced, and maybe I'm just severely out of the loop, but this is so damn cool. So a couple of days ago, Chloe and I started watching Monster the Ed Gein Story. And I say Chloe and I mean me. Chloe tapped out after halfway through episode 1 where she saw Ed Gein jerking the gherkin whilst wearing ladies' undies. And she's like, I'm out. So yeah, I kept watching. So far, I haven't finished the series yet. It's okay. It's pretty decent. It's very existential. It's very artsy at times, delving into the psyche of Ed Gein. I think the standout for me and for a lot of people is Charlie Hunnam's performance. It's incredible, even though his voice sounds like a Ralph from Shallow Hal. Oh sure, Hal, how are you? Now we all know that Ed Gein inspired Norman Bates, Buffalo Bill from The Silence of the Lambs, and of course Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So we get to episode 4 in this series, and it's entitled Green. First half is Ed having a relationship with an older woman, but then we cut to a young child on a street playing catch. Then cuts to a dinner table where he's inquiring about Ed Gein. Now, this kid's name is Toby, T-O-B-E, and I had no idea where this was going at first. And then we cut to years later in 1968 when he's standing in line and he spots a very familiar looking chainsaw, off olive green looking chainsaw. And I'm like, oh my God, what? Hang on. Whoa, it's going this direction. Okay, again, I must have been very out of the loop because I didn't know this was going to be a thing in the series. And it's clearly Toby Hooper. And all these years later, he's written a script, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, even though at one point it was called Head Cheese, and then Leatherface, and then it had a few other working titles. Now, I don't know if this is beat for beat, probably not. But it was under the notion in the series that Ed Gein lived down the street from Toby Hooper, and that's where he drew inspiration. Whereas I just think Toby Hooper drew inspiration from the Ed Gein murders. I don't think he lived down the street from him. I could be wrong. But then we cut to 1973 where they're filming the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and we see the recreation of the house, even the sliding door where Leatherface smashes the dude with the mallet. Now, the dude playing Toby Hooper is character actor Will Brill. Now, we also see an actor by the name of Sabrina Haskett playing Marilyn Burns, but then they get into the trailer, and then there is Leatherface wearing the Pretty Woman mask. Now, Leatherface himself is played by, I think, for the most part, a voice performer by the name of Brock Powell, who definitely has the stature for Leatherface. And it's this great little sequence of Toby futzing with the makeup on the Pretty Woman mask. And everyone's just seeing the birth of this infamous, influential horror character. And then there's the recreation of the Franklin death scene and Marilyn Burns running away. And at one point, when Franklin is getting killed, well, the actor portraying Franklin, I thought, is that the actual film? Have they spliced bits of the film in? Because there's even a great shot of the actor portraying Toby Hooper there, and they've got the clapperboard, and he's got the big old fat cigar, which was like a trademark, a staple of Toby Hooper. And it was just so cool to see. I found this little pocket in the series so far more interesting than the series itself. Don't get me wrong, the series, it has its perks, most notably Charlie Hunnam, and I really hope he sweeps awards season, because the dude looks like he gave it his all. But going back to seeing this sequence and how it diverts to how Ed Gein inspired Leatherface, the Chainsaw Massacre, and it cuts in between Ed Gein taking down two guys with a chainsaw with a human skin on his face, and it's going back and forth between Leatherface, Ed Gein, Leatherface, Ed Gein. I like that. It's kind of like birthing this character whilst this real life person, based on a real life person, is slaughtering these two dudes out in the snow. And that was that. And then all of a sudden, some beautiful behind the scenes photos popped up from a very talented young artist by the name of Noah Rivers, who has Noah Rivers FX. He is a hardcore Texas Chainsaw Massacre Leatherface fan who got the incredible opportunity to help recreate the masks and other various pieces for this sequence in Monster, the Ed Gein Story. And I want to talk about it. I want to show you the behind the scenes photos that Noah was gracious enough to post, and also the beautiful description that he has accompanied with these photos. Firstly, can I just say how amazing it was to see this in a series like this? Not only that, the attention to detail, the craftsmanship, the care that has gone into recreating such an iconic film, and the filming of such an iconic film. It's very reminiscent of, say, the flashback sequence from Halloween Kills, where you can tell there are fans doing this. There are fans behind this, putting in all the hard yards, putting in all the extra work to fine-tune details that us hardcore fans love, like, you know, the pipe drain that smashed down into the window in the Myers house with the flashback sequence of Halloween Kills. There was a particular tree that was out the front of the Myers house that they had someone come in and sculpt by hand to recreate that tree from 1978. Details like that. Now, just going through some of the photos here, let's touch on the Pretty Woman and Grandpa look, which just, it's spot on. It looks great, man. Look, there are probably hardcore aficionado Texas Chainsaw Massacre mask fans that may just be like, oh, you know, that looks a little off. But to me, especially the main killing mask, it looks incredible. It looks spot on, man. But obviously the Pretty Woman mask, Grandpa as well, looks incredible. So the description that Noah has posted accompanying the photos of the Pretty Woman look and Grandpa, he goes on to say, Pretty Woman and Grandpa for Gein. I had the honor of making these as well. Thank you again, AFX Studio, and Brock Talks. I'm assuming that is Brock Powell, the gentleman who played Leatherface. I'm so happy that we got to have a part in recreating one of my favorite scenes in the movie. Grandpa was applied by Dave Anderson. I believe Dave Anderson is the co-founder of AFX. Could be wrong. But also just seeing the scenes as well of them recreating, filming that iconic, infamous scene with the dinner, and just, again, just those details. Everything looks great. The actress portraying Marilyn Burns, the costume that she wears as well. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, oh my god, it's her. Like that iconic singlet, the pants, everything. Now, when it comes to the photos of Brock in the killing mask, which look fantastic, man. Like, kudos to Noah, everyone involved. Like, I can only imagine this must have been a dream come true, and I'm severely jealous, but it's just so inspiring and cool to see. So, a bit more of a in-depth description for this one. Season 3, Ed Gein. I had the opportunity to recreate the masks and makeup from one of my favorite movies, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, as well as sculpt other makeup and effects for Dave Anderson's AFX Studio. I've always been obsessed with the movie, The Mask, especially the Pretty Woman one. I think it's one of the coolest movie masks to date. Thank you, Dave, for trusting me with this project. I can't express enough how grateful I am for your support and for the chance to work on this. Leatherface was played by the amazing Brock Powell. I truly feel that Brock did him justice. He had so much love and respect for the source material. I agree. From that sequence as well, and even like Brock screams as Leatherface and moans, and the movement, everything. It was great. It was spot on. I have immense respect for anyone replicating these masks. There's so much that goes into it. You are spot on, man. The original masks felt incredibly spontaneous since they weren't sculpted. Depending on the angle or lighting, the masks look so different. That is very true. And they're constantly deteriorating throughout the movie. I really tried to get the overall feeling of Leatherface. I'd love to try again someday. I really hope the fans are happy with my attempt, and if not, I'd also like to know, from my end, man, you and the effects crew, you absolutely crushed it. When to me, that's the standout of this series, and it's a series about Ed Gein and not Leatherface. That speaks volumes. On a personal note, I wish Bob Burns, who was the production designer, I believe, on the first Texas film, had been acknowledged more in the show. While the series is very much fictional, it would have been a nice touch to credit him for those unfamiliar with his impact. Teeth created by Rob Hinderstein and molds by Tonya Mendez. AFX Studio. Okay, amazing. So there you go. But also just taking snapshots of recreating that hallway at the bottom of the Sawyer house with the sliding door with that infamous mallet to the head scene. Just stuff like that. Again, very much like the Halloween Kills flashback sequence. I love seeing stuff like this. I would love to see similar things for the Friday the 13th universe, the Elm Street universe. Christ, can you imagine if they recreated the boiler room from the Lincoln Heights jail, which is now condemned because of asbestos, and also the amount of pigeon shit that has caked the walls, the floors of the boiler room and the jail itself. But recreating something from the first Elm Street, from the earlier Friday the 13th films. But seeing this, and I think this was a nice little addition to the series, just to see how much Ed had inspired these three particular killers from horror. And there you go, guys. I know this is a very random, spontaneous video, but I just wanted to get on here and gush about Noah Rivers' amazing work, the rest of the effects crew's work. Like, it was a nice little, like I said, pocket, a nice little bubble of greatness, hard work, dedication, and fans being fans. You know, recreating those details that, for the most part, it's hardcore fans that notice, but appreciate those details. Again, like Noah said in his description, those masks for the first film were just kind of slapped together. You know, limited budget, they weren't sculpted so you couldn't make copies, replicas, etc. But just to go in and recreate all those details that I wouldn't say were accidents, but were sort of afterthoughts. Like, we have to get these masks done. We got to get this, you know, we're on a budget, you know, we're on a schedule. We've got to get this done. Not thinking how impactful these masks would be all these years later. And now the main killing mask is now owned by Sean Clark, which is incredible. And the gentleman that owned it before was taking good care of it. But I'm glad that Sean now has it, and which is great to see. And I would actually love to get him on the channel here and talk props and his journey collecting. But anyway, guys, that's pretty much it. Let me know if you are watching the Ed Gein series, your thoughts so far. If you have finished it, your overall thoughts. Again, I'm up to episode 4, and then I stopped and wanted to talk about this because, again, that was the main standout for me so far. Again, I really think Charlie Hunnam is doing an incredible job. It's very unnerving, and it's really pushing the boundaries for a Netflix series. But yeah, we'll see what comes of it when I'm finished with it. I know there's been a lot of discourse, and people are on either side of the fence, whether they love it or hate it. Love you guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.